I accomplished a lot this year. I hit a one-arm pull-up, I got a new job, hell, I even made a board game from scratch. Who the hell can say that they did that? So much has changed and I achieved so much, but despite everything, I didn't accomplish some of the main goals I really wanted to. In trying to be great in so many different fields, I feel like I lost the plot at some point. If I could do it all over again, of course I would do it differently. But I can't, so I must ensure that I take every lesson that I learned this year and carry it over to the next. Here is a reflection of my 2025 through the lens of failure. Hello, I'm Brian, and what I like to do is create a goal list in the form of a bingo sheet where each of these goals fall into one of these 6 categories, whether it be physical, financial, intellectual, mental, creative, or social. Today, I'll be focusing on lessons I learned from my changed and failed goals of 2025. In no way was this year a waste. I accomplished 17 out of 24 goals and learned an unbelievable amount, but I think it could have gone a lot differently. So today, I'm going to try to condense everything I learned through my goals in this format. First will be an overall reflection of 2025 as a whole. Then I'll be talking about what I learned from my changed goals, and then what I learned from my failed goals, and finally I'll wrap it up with some key takeaways. So, what was I thinking in 2025? Well, 2025 was the second time I've done a bingo goal sheet. What I did first was I translated the unfinished goals from 2024 that I didn't achieve onto goal sheet 2025, which was 225 bench press, acquiring a 6-pack, 15 Vietnamese study sessions, one-arm pull-up, and earning money through a side hustle. I took all those and then put it on my 2025 list. Then for creating new goals, what I did was I asked myself, if I could have anything in the world, what would it be? And since I accomplished so much in 2024, I decided to be a lot more ambitious. And because I know myself to an extent and last year's success, I started really imagining this future where I just had everything that I put down. I thought to myself, ooh, it'd be nice if I learned how to sing and improve my piano skills and pick up boxing back again and pick up rock climbing, learn about history, read some books, and ooh, because I focused on long distance running last year, let's do sprints this year. I got a bit carried away, but more on that later. And after I drew it out and put my thoughts down, boom, it was done. I carried on my year excited to achieve a lot, but as we all know, life can get busy and things don't always go your way. While I was on a roll, making big strides towards my goal in the first few weeks of 2025, drawing, singing, exercising, doing all these things, as school started to kick in, I felt a bit of worry and a bit of doubt that I might have bitten off more than I could chew. I thought it was fine since in 2024, my first bingo goal that I achieved was in March and that these goals took time, but before I knew it, I found myself in June of 25 with only 4 goals down. I felt terrible, to say the least, unproductive. And although I knew that some goals were bound to happen, like hang out with family 12 times or learn from 13 movies/games, accounting for those, I felt like I was only going to achieve maybe 9 goals that year. And not only that, they would be low-hanging fruit goals, you know? After reflecting in June, my low amount of bingo goals could not only be explained by poor time management, but also a lack of desire. I didn't feel like singing or rock climbing as much. But the funny thing is that even if I didn't feel like doing those goals, the way the bingo sheet is set up, I looked at my bare and empty, unmarked bingo goals and felt just pathetic. Like I haven't been doing anything all year. I seriously needed to reevaluate my approach, which leads us to the next section of what did I learn from my changed goals. Throughout 2025, I ended up changing 5 of my goals, but the ones that I wanted to focus on were my changes from singing to line dance and piano to overall dance. I think it's important to once in a while revisit what you're striving to achieve and why. For example, whether you still want to do it or not and what steps are you taking to achieve your goals. But I think I got so caught up with relationships, school, work that I sort of lost sight of that. And another thing is recognizing whether your goals are either intrinsic or extrinsic, and how much you want them to be intrinsic or extrinsic. I got this concept from Blue Lock, and basically it talks about how intrinsic people use their energy to prioritize what they find important, like, I like art, so I'm going to do art. While extrinsic people use their energy to prioritize what society deems important, like, I'm good at art, and people are willing to pay money for my art, so I'm going to do art. In other words, are you doing these things because you like to do it or because it looks cool? And it's completely fine to just want to look cool. People place value on these things for a reason, but recognizing and finding the balance between the two is what's important. Do you want it to be 50-50, 70-30? Think about how you want your split to be. For example, take my goal of 14 singing practices. I always admired people who could sing, and starting 2025, I wanted to learn how to do it myself, but really when I thought about it, I don't even sing that often, and every time I went karaoke with my friends, I had fun at the fact that I was singing badly anyways, right? So yes, it would be cool if I could belt out amazing vocals, and I could probably just dedicate a few hours a week to practicing singing, but do I genuinely want to do that? Considering that I have other priorities, not really. And the same thing went for piano. I already knew a decent amount of piano, but part of me wanted to learn more, to be better, right? But at some point I realized that I was satisfied with where I was at now and my skill level. And I mistakenly pursued these skills of piano and singing for extrinsic reasons when I thought it was intrinsic. And it might sound obvious, like, of course, don't chase things you don't want to, but when you become so obsessed with pursuing greatness in so many different fields, you lose sight of what really matters. Especially when you see how easy it is to achieve a lot. You know, you have 168 hours a week, just dedicate 3 hours to singing and 3 hours to piano and use the 80-20 rule. Like, when you see how feasible and within reach all these possible goals are, it's so easy to get overwhelmed by temptation and want. But that want can be accidentally extrinsic. And I fell for this trap hard. I think seeing how much I was able to achieve in 2024 made me blindsided. In striving to be a polymath, I got drunk on all this potential progress and mistaking these goals for intrinsic when they really were extrinsic, and losing sight of my values had consequences. Which leads us to the next bit of my failed goals. Reflecting on my 7 failed goals, I think each one taught me a different lesson. The first one I want to focus on is the one where I failed to read 2 books. Last year, I read one, which was Atomic Habits, and thought maybe I could go for 2 this year, but I never got hooked. I tried reading Crime and Punishment, The Unexpected Joy of the Ordinary, and How to Win Friends and Influence People, but I couldn't finish even one of them. And as the months passed, I looked at my bare and empty bingo sheet and thought, maybe I could change it down to just finishing 1 book, but I didn't want to half-ass it just to say I marked down a goal, right? And in theory, reading is amazing and efficient, and it's literally spending time increasing your educational capital, but I failed to realize that there's other forms of media that I can take away lessons from, like video games. Point being, even when there's theoretically a lot of gain, I don't have to force myself to be a reader. There are other ways to learn, more fitting ways to learn for me. The next lesson I learned from that I failed was not being able to hit a 29-second 200-meter sprint. I chose this goal originally because I thought, I love running, and since I did long distance last year, to make me more whole as an athlete, let's try short distance running. And at the beginning of January, I was going at it. I was training and I went from 35 seconds down to 32 seconds, but oh my god, it is completely different from long distance running. And at some point with school, I just stopped going. So typical motivation versus discipline type of thing. And looking back, yes, it would be cool if I could hypothetically chase down the person who just mugged me, but thinking back, I enjoyed long distance running not simply because it was just any type of running, but because the runner's high that I felt doing those long distances, which I could never feel while sprinting. It's kind of stupid, but point being, it's good to know why you enjoy things. And just because you like one aspect of something doesn't mean you have to like it all. The next lesson I learned is from failing to hit a 275 squat and a 225 deadlift. This one's kind of short. For the past few years, I kind of skipped training legs, and that developed an imbalance of muscles which led to some back pain. So I wanted to train my lower body a bit. While I hit a 250-pound squat and a 205 deadlift, since I started in August, that's when the gym opened for school and it was convenient, I did not hit this goal. So the lesson from this one is pretty simple. Just jump into change quicker. And sometimes you have to go out of your way to do so, but you do not need some crazy catalyst to start doing it. I would just say, just go for it. And this one's similar to my failed goal of 100 ab workouts. I got carried away. I thought, oh, I got time, but before I knew it, it was October and there was just no way I could fit in 100 times unless I did multiple a day, but that would ruin the idea of it. So yes, I could lower it down to 50 ab workouts, but again, I didn't want to half-ass it. So again, lesson, you got time, but you don't got time. Think, I should do it now. Don't think, I got tomorrow. Just do it now. Next is doing 16 Vietnamese study sessions. This is another short one. I looked at the goal and I came up with the quote, "Discipline is action without urgency." I want to learn Vietnamese to communicate with my family better, but because they can speak English to an extent, I've never felt the urgent need to learn Vietnamese. Like sitting down and picking up a textbook never felt appealing to me. I think with hindsight, maybe if I got a friend to learn with me, it could have gone smoother. But point being, sometimes you just have to do the boring work even when there's no gun to your head. Or at least try to find a way to make it more appealing. Moving on, this is the lesson I learned from not being able to fix my skin. This one kind of hurts to talk about. My eczema got really bad this year, like my whole body flared up and I was red everywhere. It messed with my sleep, my self-esteem, and it took me out mentally. But despite that, and despite being the #1 issue in my life that I could control to some extent, I never really got around to genuinely fixing my skin. And yes, I tried a bunch of ointments and creams, but did I really spend every hour of my day in doing so, trying to fix myself? Not really, so what does that really say about me, you know? But at the same time, how much am I allowed to blame myself? Because sometimes it's just not in my control, and sometimes it gets better, but some days it gets bad again. It's a little weird, I don't know. But I would say the lesson from this one is do what you can, progress is not linear, and try not to beat yourself up. Finally, my last failed goal that I learned from is a 225 bench press. I've been chasing this one specifically for the past 2 years, and I got 215, and I was so close to 225 the other day, but I failed. With hindsight, if I was really taking this seriously, I needed to change my method of training a few months back. But the initial reluctancy that comes with the barrier of change, combined with my stubbornness, held me back, even when my friends told me otherwise. And in sticking with my old methods, I kept getting injured, sick, swamped with school, and it was just so much. But if I changed my methods and actually did incline bench and hit my accessories instead of just sticking with my old ooga booga bench strategies, I definitely would have hit 225. Point being, you can't open new doors with old keys. If you want change, you have to change yourself. All right, key takeaways. #1, reduce the amount of goals. Oh my God, I was spread too thin, and some of these definitely did not need to be on there. What I'm gonna do personally is still have 24, but I'm gonna make these clumps of 4 where all of them are working towards one goal. For example, getting 2 letters of recommendation, studying for the C-sets, passing the C-sets, and officially getting into the teacher's program. All of these are direct steps into becoming a teacher. It's a lot more focused than 24 different things. And it sort of loses the magic of the bingo, in which it's like super diverse, but it still serves its function of being a goal motivator. #2, don't beat yourself up for a lack of progress for something that you don't even care about. And give yourself grace for the slow ones that you do care about. There's a lot of stuff that aren't on this bingo sheet that I am proud of. For example, I went out of my way to present a professional workshop, which I can add to my resume, and that wasn't a planned goal. So it's okay if things aren't going as planned. Things happen. And on top of that, stop trying to be things that you aren't after you gave them a shot. Of course, it would be nice if I learned how to sing or knew how to use AI tools or self-studied all of Hank Green's psychology crash course and have a higher stat as a human being, right? But do I really need all that? It's okay to not know about things you don't even care about, even if society deems them that it's good to know. Which brings me to my third point of knowing your intrinsic and extrinsic balance. Remember, society places value on things for a reason. Not all extrinsic goals are bad. Like if your goal is to get good grades so your resume looks good, that's not bad. Just make sure you don't get carried away and end up with like being a robot with a 100-0 split. Know why you're chasing something and how much of it are you okay with it being extrinsic. Anyways, if you like the way I talk about certain concepts and need help locking in for 2026, I have a video here where I break down step by step on a bunch of different philosophies and what I learned that helped me reflect on my core values and systemize my goals to efficiently get things done. But that'll be all, and I hope you have a good one, and go take action. Peace.